Most people think that creatine builds muscle, but that's not actually what it does. I've been taking creatine for around 3 years now. I've done the research, dug into the studies. There's a lot of studies. And here's what most people don't realize. Creatine doesn't just help boost your performance in the gym, it helps your brain too. So if you've ever thought creatine's just for big scary gym bros, I don't want to get bulky like that, or I don't even know what it actually does, then stay with me, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly how creatine works, how much you actually need to be taking, what type you should get, because if you get the wrong type then you are literally throwing your money down the toilet, and how and when to use it properly to reach your specific goals. This video marks the start of our brand new supplement series where I'll be breaking down popular supplements to help you figure out if they're legit, right for your goals, or just a waste of money. So make sure you subscribe and comment what other supplements you want to see in the rest of the series too. But back to creatine. When I first heard about creatine, I actually avoided it for the entire first year of my fitness journey because I thought it would make me look bloated, make me gain weight faster than I wanted, make me look bulky, and low-key was put off by the way my mom thought it was a steroid. As more people started talking about creatine, I decided to properly research it for myself, and what I found genuinely shocked me. Because unlike a lot of supplements nowadays, creatine actually works. And once I understood how it worked, I realized that creatine wasn't really scary at all, it's just misunderstood. You gotta get this right, because when you do, you will never look at creatine the same way again. When you're in the gym, every single rep you do, every heavy lift, sprint, or explosive movement runs on something called ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, which is just a fancy way of saying it's got 3 phosphates attached. So to put it simply, ATP is just a little package of energy that your body uses in things like exercise, but a lot more beyond that too. Each grape represents 1 phosphate, so when your muscles need energy, that break is what releases energy, and then you're left with adenosine diphosphate. But here's the problem, your body can only store a tiny amount of ATP. So during heavy lifting, you're going to be burning through it really fast. Then fatigue hits, where you're struggling to get out those last few reps, you're feeling tired, you don't think you can push anymore, and you have to end your set. But this is where creatine comes in. Inside your muscles, creatine is stored as phosphocreatine, meaning that it's already got a phosphate attached. So when you're lifting, ATP loses that phosphate to become ADP. Creatine donates its spare phosphate, and in one step, that pretty much instantly turns ADP back into ATP, meaning you've got more energy, you can push out more reps, there's no oxygen, your aerobic system's not getting involved. That is why creatine is perfect for heavy lifts, short intense sets, or explosive exercise, because you're getting that instant energy. You might have never heard that before, because most of the time creatine's sold as a muscle building supplement. So how does creatine actually help you build muscle? What people don't tell you is that creatine doesn't build muscle directly, but it does keep your strength higher throughout your sets. You can get to the point you used to fail at and then push out 1 or 2 extra reps. And it can also help you recover faster between your sets. Over time, that better training quality is what leads to the greater strength and muscle gains. But the effects on your muscles isn't where the benefits of creatine stops, because recent studies have shown that supplementing with creatine can actually be really impactful even for people who don't hit the gym. The cool thing is, your brain uses the exact same system. Just like in the gym, ATP goes to ADP and releases energy. Those are good grapes. Your neurons are constantly burning through ATP, especially when you're stressed, underslept, or just mentally overloaded. Similar to what it's like in the gym, when ATP drops in your brain, then your focus, memory, and mental endurance is going to drop too. So creatine helps recycle ATP in your brain cells, which is why it's been shown to improve mental clarity and cognitive performance. And let's talk about the different types, because supplement companies love to overcomplicate this. You'll see loads of different kinds of creatine out there: creatine monohydrate, buffer creatine, HCl, creatine gummies, fancy blends with big promises. Let's clear things up. Creatine monohydrate is the most researched, most effective, and most affordable form. It absorbs well, it's what pretty much all of the studies are based on, and it actually works. Really, other forms aren't any better, they're just more expensive. This video isn't sponsored by any supplement company, but I do have a discount code that you can use for ProteinWorks, which is where I get most of my supplements. So you can use code SOPHIER if you want to get your creatine even cheaper. But there's one form of creatine that there has been a lot of hype about recently, and that is creatine gummies. Creatine gummies look cute and they even taste pretty good too, but this is where I want you to be careful. Independent testing has found that many of the popular gummies don't actually contain the 3 to 5 grams of creatine that you need for it to actually be effective. And some contain almost 0 creatine. I'm not going to name names because so many companies are making similar products now, but because of the way that gummies are made, creatine can break down into creatinine, and creatinine does nothing for your performance. So yes, taking creatine in the form of a gummy can be super convenient, especially if you're traveling, but it's also way more expensive, sometimes even up to 6 times more expensive than if you got creatine monohydrate. It's often loaded with added sugar and fillers, and ultimately they're inefficient. So to hit the recommended 5 grams, you might need from 3 to 8 gummies every single day, which just adds additional cost, excess sugar, and the chance of it having zero benefit at all. Personally, I'm not taking that risk. Powdered creatine monohydrate is much more reliable, it's better dosed, it's cheaper, and if you get it from a reliable source that's third-party tested like Protein Works, then you can be confident that it works and is actually going to get you some beneficial results. But how much creatine should you really be taking? Can you take too much? Can you overdose? Can you be deficient, like if you're vegetarian because they're not eating meat? Let's chat. For strength training, performance, and muscle support, you want to have 5 grams per day. This slowly saturates your muscles, so creatine is always available when you train. For brain and cognitive benefits, you want around 8 to 10 grams per day because that's been shown to be more effective, and that's because your brain stores less creatine than muscle, so slightly higher intake supports your brain cells better. You don't need to load it, you don't need to cycle it, and timing doesn't really matter that much, so just make sure that you're choosing a time and being consistent with taking it each day. And yeah, take it on rest days too. One thing I would like to note though is some people do find that if they take it in the morning on an empty stomach, then it can cause a little bit of stomach discomfort. So I'd always recommend having it with a meal. Personally, I take my creatine before or after my workouts just because that's kind of when I remember to take it. Some people do decide to do a loading phase when they first start taking creatine, so they'll take around 10 grams per day for a week or so and then reduce it to the usual 5 grams. This can help saturate your muscles faster, but really there's not much additional benefit long term, so I would just recommend going in with the 5 grams straight off the bat and then continuing it from there. If you're vegetarian, there is a chance that your creatine levels might be lower, which is where supplementation can be very beneficial. But as long as you're getting enough of a variety of different protein sources, then your body will still be able to take those different amino acids and synthesize creatine on its own as well. One of the questions people ask me most often, and I think one of the things that people are most scared about before they start taking creatine, is will creatine make me look bulky? Or I'm scared I'm just gonna get bloated. This is your muscle without creatine. So when you take creatine, it pulls water into the muscle cells, not under the skin. That is hydration. It's not fat gain, it's not bloating, and a hydrated muscle is gonna perform better. And it often looks fuller and stronger too. That's why a lot of people taking creatine suddenly find that they've got more muscle definition, because the water is making it more hydrated and sort of pushing the muscles out more. And that's what happens if you stop taking creatine. I feel like not many people talk about this either, but when you stop taking creatine, say for a few weeks or a month, then you're just gonna get back to the state that you were in because your muscles aren't gonna be saturated with that creatine anymore, and you're not gonna experience the same benefits. Yes, you'll keep the muscle that you've built, but it's not going to be hydrated, you're not going to feel that performance boost. So that's why once you start taking creatine, you've kind of got to keep going with it. I just got sponge in my eye. How did that even happen? So creatine isn't scary, it's not cheating, it's not just for the gym bros, and it can actually get you a lot more results on your fitness journey, especially being able to squeeze out those extra few reps, because it's those hard reps at the end of the set when you don't even think you're going to be able to get one more. Those are the reps that count. It's one of the safest and most researched supplements out there for both physical and mental performance. And I genuinely think if I could only choose 3 supplements to take for the rest of my life, creatine would probably be number 1. Make sure you subscribe to hear what the other 2 of my top 3 supplements would be, and comment all of your supplement questions below. This series is going to be insane, and all of the information that I wish I knew about supplements way before I started my fitness journey. We're doing the research. I'm going to give you the facts so that you can make an informed decision on whether or not each of the supplements in this series is going to be beneficial to help you get towards your goals. So I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Comment what other supplements you want to see, and YouTube thinks you'll find this video helpful next. Love you so much. I'll see you there. Bye.